Alright, we're back on gaming. I want to start right now with some sad news, probably the most important news of this video. As you all know, one Mr. Satoru Iwata has passed on. And you know it's really sad. He died at, 55 years old? That is very young. Very young. And this man was an icon in this industry. And the thing is, when you see people pass on, or you hear they passed on, and I'm talking not just what they've done when it comes to our community, or what they've done in the industry, but we're talking about a person who was a good-natured person, a human being, a good human being. Because for those who don't know, every time something happened, he always had a smile on his face. He always said, in these days and times, where you had Sony, and Microsoft, oh, the fanboy wars, and they're fighting left and right, what did Satoru Iwata say? He said that these games should be made for fun. For everyone. That's what it was about. For fun. It wasn't about competition all the time. It wasn't about, oh, you're a noob and all that. No, just have fun. And it seems like that message got lost along the way somewhere. And that's the sad part. Because in his passing, it really does make you think about these type of things. And here's the sad part about this. Because, like I said, when you have a guy who has been so iconic in this industry, in our community, and I'll put it like this, if you've ever played a Nintendo game, 9 times out of 10, Satoru Iwata probably had his hands on that you've played. I can remember still the first time I played Earthbound. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that you remember when a man such as himself and his magnitude passes on. And I like to say pass on is, maybe leveled up or whatever, because let's look at it this way. The outpour of sympathy we've seen towards his family have been amazing. You know what I mean? Gamers from all over. I've seen celebrities now posting, rest in peace Satoru Iwata. Like, it's amazing to see the impact that he's had on so many people. That's a good person. Like I say, he's always kept a smile on his face no matter what. Anytime you have a guy who says, look, I feel as though I haven't done enough to, to help the community or to help the fan base or push Nintendo the way it needs to be pushed, I'm going to take a pay cut. Anytime you have a guy like that, you know what that means? That means that's the guy I want on my team. Because he's putting others in front of himself. And that's what you need more in this community. You need to lead by example and show that. And a number of us have shown that, whereas you have a number of people who just act like idiots. And I'll show you that in a minute, okay? I will. But it's just sad to see that such a good person passed on too soon. They say the good die young all the time, don't they? They always say that. And it's kind of sad because, like I said, gamers have always paid their respects when it comes to, in this nature. And as for those who don't know, gamers have created a petition Nintendo to create an amiibo for Iwata. That's right. Now, a lot of people have already said that they're kind of against it because they don't want to profit off of someone's death. But then one of you guys has said, maybe they should do it, as in, all proceeds go to, like, cancer or something, cancer research, or things of that nature. That's the way you can do it. Or hold a tournament in his legacy and things of that, you know what I mean? Like, that's the way to go about it. And I put it like this, if they did make an amiibo about it, I would go buy one. That would be my first and possibly only amiibo I ever have. As a, remembrance. Because for the games I played Nintendo as a child, you know what I mean? Knowing that, he was behind that means something. It really does. I know a lot of people are very upset about this. A lot of people are very sensitive on the issue. And then you have those who just feel as though this isn't the time to do comedy hour. Or this is the time to be hateful and spiteful. And it seems like these people don't understand what death and mourning does to people. And for those who know what I'm talking about, I want to show you right now exactly what I mean when I mean people being spiteful and saying, I'm glad he's gone and all these things. Check this out real quick. How fucking childish can you be? What did Iwata, a man you don't know, a man who was always in good spirits and tried to do the best of his ability, what did he do to you to say, well, it sucks for his family, but that's good for me? Good as in how? Do you think that all of a sudden Sony's going to get the edge and Microsoft's going to get the edge and then Nintendo's going to fall? Is that what you think? Is that what you're... Because I'll play this. If that's what you're thinking, then you're fucking petty. And we've seen more and more of it because gamers, you sent me this not too long ago. It just goes to show you these people have no fucking clue. It shows you how childish... I'm sorry, but it's childish. It's immature. You can't seriously say, can Nintendo die now? Look, I put it like this, alright? When someone passes on, the man's not even cold yet, the body's not even cold yet, and you've already taken, to take his death and use it as a target towards others, or spiteful or animosity towards others. That is fucking ridiculous. It is. And you think it's funny. It's not funny. These type of people, this is what I mean about these type of people don't deserve to be in our community. I guarantee you if it happened to you, you wouldn't want people running around, or someone in your family, you wouldn't want someone saying, ha ha ha, this person died. Oh well, let's make jokes about it. Ha ha ha. Let's hope that, that family doesn't recover, or that company they work for doesn't recover. Get the fuck out of here with this. It goes to show you that these people have no idea. Either they're trying to be assholes just for entertainment, because it's fun, and I've never understood that, because I understand this is the internet, where it seems like if you act like a badass, you act cold-hearted, that's going to get your respect, and you act fucking ignorant, that's going to get your respect, and people going to jump to that. But as soon as you show a little bit of sympathy, you're weak. Get the fuck out of here with this old bullshit. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I said it on Twitter. It takes more of a man to save a life than it does to take a life. And it seems like a lot of people still don't understand this. And mind you, someone sent that to me, that entire screenshot. So as far as I'm concerned, that is disgusting. You should feel ashamed of yourself, but of course not, because I can say what I want on the internet. I would love for you to say that to that man's family. I would love to see that. But I forgot. You're somewhere in interwebs, so you can say what you want without any consequences. This is what's fucked up the community so much. It has. And it's not only is it disrespectful, but you know what? At that point, it tells me that there's so many losers out there that they have so much misery that they want other people to join them. Because that's what it is. Who the fuck sits around and says, oh, someone just died, let me see, ha 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 ha, real quick. Ha ha, this person died, I hope Nintendo falls. If that's your thought, your process, your train of thought, in the first couple seconds you hear about someone dying, there's something wrong with you. And it's not, oh, you're psycho, or you're crazy. No, you're just fucking stupid. You're pathetic. That's what it is. And when people have to act like that, act so fucking tough online, you know what that tells me? That means you get beat the fuck up in the real life. That's what it tells me. And that you can't handle that in real life, so you gotta come online and throw that on others. That's what it fucking tells me. But you know what? It gets worse, people. Yes, it gets worse. Then you have people who want to use Iwata's death, that's right, for their platform, because they're saying, look, I'm not spiteful to the point where I'm happy that he's dead. But I'm happy that he's gone because Nintendo, this is what they say, because Nintendo treats female characters, that's right, badly. This is what they're saying. You should know by now not to use any tragedies or someone's death for your fucking platform because of sexism. Get the fuck out. Like I said, all these things are happening and people are saying these things as soon as this man, like I said, hasn't been 24 hours. This man is still warm. The body is still warm. And this is where you're going with it. Seriously, Nintendo treats their female characters badly. Do you realize that if the name Samus is even iterated, that says everything about females in video games? You understand that? Samus was the original badass. Do you not understand? Treating women bad? Stop. This over. Some guy dying. Come on. Stop. This is where you went with it. And it's disgusting. Look, at the end of the day, alright, Satoru Iwata, even though I didn't know him personally, but given the way he acted, and you watching interviews, and you read, and you just watch interviews, but you read interviews, and you see the actions, because they lead by example. And you see this man, and he's always happy. He's always talking about having fun. He's always kind. He's always generous. He always has a smile on his face. And he tells you straight up that regardless of everything that happens, try to be kind to each other. Because without that, we have nothing. Because if everyone's a badass, what gets solved? What gets solved? Nothing. There needs to be balance. And Iwata said it himself, because this is not, like I said, this is not just a blow for the industry. It's not just a blow for the community, but it's a blow for you fellow gamers. And as far as I'm concerned, this needs to be said. This is the only thing that needs to be said about Satoru Iwata when it comes to respect.
On my business card, I am a corporate president. In my mind, I am a game developer. But in my heart, I am a gamer.
Enough said as far as I'm concerned. Gamers, we lost one of our own. That's right, we lost one of the good ones. And as far as I'm concerned, Satoru Iwata, see you, Space Cowboy. Much respect. We'll see you in another life. I'm sure you're doing great things somewhere else, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I want to move on, and I still want to talk about, because like I said, he's a gamer, we lost the gamers, but other non-gamers are coming out and speaking about this issue. And for those who know what I'm talking about, Anita Sarkeesian. That's right. Now, for those who don't understand what happened, during this time, somebody had photoshopped some fake tweets that Anita was trying to take advantage of this situation with Iwata, and trying to bring, we're trying to throw some shade her way, okay? And Anita actually responded this way on her Twitter. That is probably the first and only time I will ever agree with Anita Sarkeesian. However, let's not get it twisted, people, alright? Because she's done this before. So, yeah, when you saw those fake tweets, kind of thought it was real. And I had to ask around, I'm like, yo, are these real? And people are like, no, they're fake, alright? Because for those who don't remember, this is what Anita Sarkeesian did when she used tragedies herself to strengthen her own platform. So if she's going to complain about people making fake tweets, you also have to understand here, Sarkeesian, this is what you've done in the past. So when they're showing you this, they're telling you, look in the mirror. This is what you've done before. Take some responsibility. But you won't do that, will you? No, get the fuck out of here. No, matter of fact, let's move on to your other SJW buddies. How about that, right? Brianna Wu. Remember, just not too long ago, Brianna Wu was saying that, Brianna Wu that plays Dead or Alive, but has a problem with Street Fighter, right? Has a problem with Chun-Li's boobs, bouncing on Street Fighter. Yeah, so that was a big deal. Then why is it, Brianna Wu, that you had all these problems with sexism in gaming and things of that nature, yet you're bragging about being featured in Playboy? Hold up. That picture. I just want to say, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the same motorcycle that Brianna Wu was riding? That when she collected that money for her Patreon and was saying, I'm being harassed, I gotta leave my house, I can't do anything, please support me. And isn't that the same money she took to buy that motorcycle? And if not, is that the money that her rich parents gave her? The parents that gave her hundreds of thousands of dollars to open up her own company for the motorcycle? It's one or the other. But like I said, this has nothing to do with morals. This is business, alright? You can't sit here and tell me, oh, I'm being oppressed, oh, I'm so scared, and then you're doing spreads for Playboy. Or should I say featured articles. Then again, who the hell reads articles in Playboy? I'm just saying, who does? But the fact is, alright, we've seen this time and time again with these people. It has nothing to do with morals. And you can see they constantly flip-flop, don't they? This is business to them. That's all it is. I don't understand how they've gotten this far. I don't understand why gamers keep giving them this much attention to the point where they can make connections and then just rocket off into the stratosphere. That's what it is. Look at me, sit here, try to play the victim, and all of a sudden everyone around America should care, right? That they're the victim, because, there's not enough victims, going on in this world that you don't hear about. Right? But that's okay. Right? I guess if I go online, if I go on Twitter and start saying I'm a victim because, I'm being harassed and because I'm black and things of that nature, then I would have a lot of people coming to me, right? Oh no, I forgot they don't give a shit about black people. I forgot. Yeah, my fault. Anyways, let's move on. I want to talk about something that's actually ridiculous, alright? Absolutely ridiculous. Alright, for those who don't know, someone came out and wrote an article about WWE 2K, their games, 15 or 16, one of them, and they're upset because they can't play as a female John Cena. The article goes on saying that we know that John Cena has been a male character his entire life. Do they not realize that John Cena is a real person? I'm just trying to figure this out. And I'll put it like this. You can be your own female John Cena if you use Newsflash, the Creator Wrestler. What is the problem? That you want to change John Cena into a female because obviously they don't think that John Cena's real. I don't understand this. Like, this has to be the dumbest thing I have read all week. It has to be. And the fact is, people are like, yeah, they should change John Cena. Yeah, they should change. Like, you've got to be kidding me. You get, oh my God. Just, oh my, anyways, with all this, because, it goes on to talk about how, it's still a male-dominated video game industry and misogyny and sexism. Okay, well, how about this? Since, gamers are such male chauvinist pigs, right? Because that's what we are, apparently. Then tell me, why did gamers get awarded for actually helping a woman in distress? Not only that, hold on, alright, how the game industry wins high scores for charity. So if you want to sit here and say, oh, the industry is such sexist and they need to be, it needs to be a balance and things of that nature, how are they winning high scores for charity? Because, you're trying to paint the industry and the community as evil shitlord misogynists, and then you see a number of us constantly doing charity funds, doing charity streams, doing, games done quick and things of that nature. How can you sit here and ignore all the positive things that's going on in the community and in the industry and just trying to paint us as the bad guy? Because you're nothing but fucking Jack Thompson. I've been saying this for years. All of you. When it comes to this misogyny, sexism. Granted, you want people to, to have more balance when it comes to women in gaming. Okay, you want more heroines, even though they're around and you haven't done your research. But you want more. Okay. But like I said, it never was about wanting more, was it? It was about control and wanting to look better while slandering other people. And that's what you've been doing. Because if this was about, I said it before, if this was about equality, you would not need to knock down someone else to get higher. Right? Like I said, it's a business. And you're full of shit. You are. And speaking of people being full of shit, let's talk about the fighting game community and not the FGC in general, okay? I'm not saying, the community's full of shit. No. For those who understand what happened not too long ago, Rockaway Carter was doing a Tekken Revolution stream, and people were getting salty. He was getting beat. What I'm getting ready to show you goes against everything that SJWs are talking about and what female gamers are talking about. So female gamers, I want you to pay attention to what's going on. Because in this chat, I'm going to circle it for you, right? This girl that's playing Tekken Revolution wants people to take it easy on her simply because she's a girl. Talk about setting women back. Isn't that something? So it goes to show you, it has nothing to do with men trying to be misogynist or no. Alright? It's this simple. It doesn't matter if you're a man. It doesn't matter if you're a woman. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. None of that matters. It doesn't matter your beliefs. I'll put it like this. Get good. That's simple. No one's going to take it easy on you simply because you're a female. That's bullshit. You're sending back all those other females who play hard in these games. That's what you're doing right now. But you know what? Let's move on to the fighting game community, because there's a number of things that we need to talk about today. Like I said, that to me is bullshit. You know what I mean? But I guarantee you, if you beat the hell out of her, oh, you're being such sexist, whatever. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. Speaking of all this controversy when it comes to these people and sexism, misogyny, I want to talk about GGVO. For those who don't know what that is, that's Gamergate versus Online. I want to talk about this, okay? Because not too long ago, they put on a tournament for Ultra Street Fighter 4. And it went off without a hitch. I thought it was great. The brackets were set up nice. The way they had everything under control. The stream was smooth. The comments, I'll put it like this. The comments in the stream chat, okay? Very welcoming. Very warm. There was no shit posting at all, which was great. People were actually watching the games. And, and commenting and having fun. And they took little pot shots every once in a while. Actually, it's about fighting. It's about gaming. And I will put it like this. Now that the GGBO is in, since the wheels are turning now, SJWs, this is your time to show that you actually play video games. I'm waiting for Brianna Wu to show up. Remember, she's supposed to play Street Fighter and DOA. You're so good, it's time for you to step up to the plate. It really is. Gamergate has shown that, they're going to get together and they're going to play these games. And I can see this, if they play their cards right, it can get bigger and bigger. It can. But the stream itself was fun to watch. It really was. And it goes to show you that people can get along, and it brought people together. They can get along without acting like fucking idiots. No one acted a fool. Everyone was very nice. Now, I sat in that comment section. I watched that, that stream the entire time. It was fun to watch. It really was. And I watched it again because of the fact that everyone was so welcoming. That's what it was about. Didn't matter if it was man or woman. Hey, welcome. Hey, how you doing? That's what it was. And everyone had fun. So as far as I'm concerned, clapping it up for you. GGVO, keep it going. Seriously, keep it going. Especially the fighting games. Yeah, really, keep it going. But I believe not too long ago they had a Counter-Strike tournament, didn't they, or something like that? So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's great. Like I said, when these people are running their mouths, if they're not going to step to the plate, they need to shut the fuck up, as far as I'm concerned. But I forgot, if you challenge them, we talked about this before, if you challenge them, then that's oppressive. That's offensive. It's offensive. You can't do that. I guess I should start going around Leroying again, you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyways, I want to move on to EVO. Now, as you know, EVO will be coming up this weekend. I probably won't get a chance to see most of it because I have people from out of town coming to visit me, so I probably won't get a chance to see enough, but I really do want to see Tekken 7, I want to see Guilty Gear, I want to see Persona. They're like my big three. I want to see, what happens. Also, Anime EVO should be good as well. Like I said, EVO's going to be big. Expect a lot of sales, like people who are looking to buy fighting sticks or any type of merchandise. Expect a lot of sales coming this weekend when it comes to retailers, when it comes to fighting games, okay? Also, I want to talk about Ski Sonic. I want to say this real quick. Ski Sonic has been awarded EVO 2015 scholarship to NYU's Game Center. And I want to say congratulations, okay? Because you know what? Like I said before, we talked about, for a number of years now, we talked about scholarships and things of that nature. Remember, I did a video on it. And I'm really happy to see that this is, going, because back in my time when we played, like I said, when we had to go from arcade to arcade to arcade, there wasn't any scholarships you can earn while playing. You know what I mean? So, I find that amazing. These kids who are, still eligible, by all means, do it. Do it. I understand some of them don't want to go to school. They just want the money, which is, to me, I put it like this. If you're thinking long term, you want to go to school. You want to. Oh, if I win $10,000 for this tournament and I keep going, I can have a healthy life. No, because that's short-term goals. What are you going to do when you get really older? Or like we've seen other players already, I'm retiring because, I can't play anymore because my hand or my wrist or my arm or something like that. Like, I really wouldn't, bank on that as a long-term career, if that's what you want to call it, a career. All right? Get yourself an education, go to school, make something of yourself. Games will always be there. They will. They're not going anywhere. Okay? This is going to keep rocking. This has been going on. Y'all have to understand. Fighting games have been going on since the 90s. They're not falling apart. They're not going anywhere. Okay? They're not. So for anyone who thinks, oh, this is the end of said franchise, trust me, there's no end for said franchise. And I say that due to the fact that at any time you can see World Heroes come back. You can see Samurai Showdown come back. You can see a number of games. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised they brought back Pit Fighter. Okay? Like, you have to understand, this has been going for so long. And we're going to talk about more games coming in the horizon, okay? We will. Before I get started, I want to talk about salt. I want to talk about that sodium. That's right. Because since May, we have seen so much salt. So much sodium from people from everywhere when they get beat by games. Look. I understand that it's summertime. I get it. But there's no reason for you to get so upset at losing in a fighting game to where you're going to start sending hate messages or stalk people on Twitter. Alright? Stalk people on Twitter and trash them because you lost. I don't understand. Get good. And here's the thing. When I saw that happen to Bolt not too long ago, he was actually teaching a person how to play Unigniting Birth. How does that person rage quit, then jump all over him afterwards? He's teaching you. He's teaching you how to play. You ask him for help, then when he teaches you, you get mad at him and block him. What the fuck is that? Like, I don't understand this. Where's the maturity at? That's what I'm looking for. Because there's no way you can get this mad over a fighting game. You can't. It's impossible to get this mad. Okay, maybe it's not impossible. But you've got to be kidding me that if you get that enraged over a fighting game, that you have to do, it tells me that your priorities just aren't there. Because like I said, when you're in tournaments and things of that nature, good game. Good game. If I get beat, let's say if I play Bolt Strike Unigniting Birth, and he's beating me 10-0, I mean he's wiping the floor with me, you think I'm going to get mad at him? No, I'm learning from him. So if I play him and I keep losing, by the time I play someone who's probably below his level, I'll be ready to wipe them off the map. That's how it works. You play top tier people or guys who are really, or girls who are really good to get better. It doesn't matter how many you win or lose. Everyone loses. You think that all these guys that you see at these tournaments, they've never taken a loss? Is that what you think? Come on, man. What's wrong with you? Anyways, I want to move on. And I have to give a special happy birthday. 5 years old, for those who don't know. Special happy birthday, something that's close to my heart. King of Fighters. That's right. For those who don't know, King of Fighters 13 is now 5 years old. That's right. 5 years old. Doesn't even feel like it. It goes to show you that, and people still play this game to this day. 5 years. Without any, oh, we're going to give you an ultra, super, mega pack, mega edition. You don't need that. It goes to show you that you can make a solid game and let it run for 5 years and people still play it like it's still badass. Now, of course, a lot of people want to say, well, it's not at EVO, it's not here, it's not there. Yeah, you know what? That's kind of fucked up that it's not. But y'all saw how that went down. When they did have it at EVO, y'all saw the finals, y'all saw the grand finals. Y'all saw how hype it was. So, yeah. Kind of sad that King of Fighters 13 still not getting the credit it deserves. Still a great game. I can't believe it's 5 years old already. Just saying, time flies, man. It just does. I want to talk about BlazBlue. Arc System Works. Yeah, we got a problem here. Yeah, for those who don't know, BlazBlue's Central Friction Extend has been announced, and the localization test starts, will be slated July 18th, which, as you know, July 18th will be on EVO as well. How many times are you going to do this? Arc System, we just talked about this because you already announced a new Guilty Gear. Now you're doing it with BlazBlue. Oh my God. Like, this is something that has to stop. It has to. Because you're doing a disservice to your customers. We talked about how these games are coming out way too fast. Not only that, Arc System Works wants to make a new fighting game. That's right, I'll put the link in the info part. They're already kicking around ideas for a new fighting game, but they want it to be something like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. So they're going to come out with a new fighting game. So let me get this straight. You're going to work on a new fighting game and then do the same thing that you've been doing over and over with BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, let's look at the grief chart that Arc System Works pretty much causes in their community. And that is pretty damn sad as far as I'm concerned. You got to wake up sometime, people. I understand you probably don't get mad. I understand. Look, if you want to go buy it, go ahead and buy it. You know what I mean? If you feel as though that's what you need to do to keep up with the Joneses, by all means, go ahead. But you should know by now, we've had this conversation before, this is not the days of the arcade, where you can go from machine to machine to machine. When your game comes out and then 2 months later, you announce another one, there's a problem. We already saw Under Night. I bought Under Night and was like, damn, they already announced another one. Like, you know what I mean? Fighting Climax, already announced another one. BlazBlue, already announced another one. You know what I mean? Guilty Gear, already announced another one. Street Fighter, already announced another one. Like, it just keeps going. Like I said, these kind of tactics worked in the arcade back in the day because you can move from machine to machine and pump your quarters in. But when you were paying $40, $50, depending on the game, because sometimes they even charge $60 plus DLC, and some of these guys are trying to push out these season passes like Dead or Alive. For those who don't know, Dead or Alive just tweeted not too long ago, was it the other day, yesterday, they're coming out with a second season pass and a second costume pack. Why do you need a second season pass? And you still haven't fixed the damn game. You know what? That's what I mean. When you are having these problems, and you have, they're still trying to milk you over and over, at some point you gotta say no. At some point. Like I said, I understand people are going to be fans of stuff. I understand that people are going to buy it because of that, and they want to keep up. But at one point you gotta be like, you know what? This is bullshit. You know what I mean? At one point you gotta say that. You can't just be like, yeah, it's bullshit, but what can I do about it? No, there's something you can do about it. You can not buy the game. You can let them know how you feel. Like I said, that's what the community was always about. Not getting screwed over. Now we have a community that just accepts anything and just lays down. I don't understand this. I really don't. When someone fucked up, you called them on it. And they was like, yep, we fucked up. You know what I mean? That's what it was. Now it's, don't you talk about them. I don't get that. I don't at all. Gamers always stuck with each other. Through thick and thin. Now we have people who take sides with the companies. And when the companies clearly are just like, yeah, we don't give a shit about you, we're just going to keep making them. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you have a good gap between. You know what I mean? And then you can say, okay, it's justifiable to do that. But when you clearly, you just get the game and all of a sudden, oh, we're coming out with another one. Like, are you serious? You can just patch it? Hopefully we see that more often. We see more patches and adding in, because we're hearing that, is it Melty? Is it Melty Blood? One of those games. They're only adding, or is it Guilty Gear? I don't know. One of them, they're adding one new character. One new character. Like, that's it. That's all you're getting, and a bunch of fixes. You could have DLC that up. You know what I mean? Or they're fixing the mechanics, so you can patch that. We'll see what comes. You know what I mean? We'll see what comes down the line. Let's not get a little too hasty. I will try to keep on the news with it. Okay? Just to let you know. I want to move on to Tekken vs. Street Fighter. For those who don't know, just to let you know, it is not canceled. That's right. That's the news so far. It is not canceled. Also, Street Fighter V won't have multiple versions like Street Fighter 4. That's a good one, Capcom. That's a good one. And people would say like Street Fighter 4. You know what? That should have said Street Fighter V won't have multiple versions like every other Street Fighter. That's what it should have been said, because they've been having multiple versions of Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2. So don't give me this all of a sudden that it's just since like Street Fighter 4. I don't want to hear it. All right, we will see what happens, because we don't know if Sony is going to pony up with them and go into other other renditions or editions of the game. We don't know. But you've got to be kidding me if you think that Capcom isn't going to come out with another version of Street Fighter 5. Stop. I'll believe it when I see it. How about that? Also, I see a lot of people are mad at the Street Fighter 5 Ken reveal. Now look. Classic costumes are coming. They're coming. Because I looked at Ken and was like, yo, is that Ken? What the hell is that? I was really disappointed at the Ken reveal, not of the gameplay, alright? But the way he looks. And I say this due to the fact that I was really hoping that they had moved on with his story when it comes to him having a child and seeing where they're going to go with that. But instead, they have him, dressed like he's some type of... I don't want to say an Akuma ripoff. I don't want to say that, because he has hair up in the back and all. Like, I don't mind the outfit. A lot of people think that he has a banana on his head. I personally, like I said, they're going to come out with classic costumes, and it's already been confirmed that Capcom confirms classic costumes to be available down the road. We will see if they DLC it up. More than likely, they will DLC it up for more money, because let's be honest here, this is the same Capcom that charged you for color palettes, is it not? So, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I will believe these things when I see them, if they do right by the consumer. Until then, because of their history, this is what I'm going by. So I don't want to hear people getting all mad at me and everything. No, I'm going by their history. So if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at Capcom for doing this. Okay? Now, or any other company for that matter. Now, I want to move on. More Capcom news. A Capcom rep has filed a trademark for Umbrella Corps. So get ready for, I guess, another spin-off maybe for, Resident Evil. Get ready. Also, Bandai Namco, we got to talk for a minute. The producer that says, don't expect Xenosaga HD by petition from the fans. He says he'll find another way. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Find another way. Because you don't need to lean on the community all the time when it comes to petitions and Kickstarters. You don't need to. It just goes to show, look, if you have the resources, if you have the connections in the industry, you can make it happen. You can. It's not always just about fan demand. It's not. Alright? He'll find another way. He knows, he knows the fans want it, and they want it. But it doesn't mean that you need to lean on them. And I respect that. I respect that. Because let's be honest here. So many companies lean on fans and people lean on fans. I'm surprised their back hasn't broken from supporting them. But let's talk about support. Because people want to support this regardless, right? Because they own that EA Gatorade. You know that. EA and Comcast, that's right, team up for a new streaming service. Really. Like, I don't see this going well at all. I mean, Comcast, Comcast has the resources, but partner with EA, oh, this is going to be interesting. I can only imagine the train wreck that's going to come from that. I mean, we already see how Origins is, so we can only imagine. Okay, let's just move on. Jade Raymond joins EA's team for the next Star Wars game. Not even going to get started on that. Last time we heard from Jade Raymond, though, she was like, Assassin's Creed, isn't for making, trying to hold, isn't hand-holding for consumers. They don't want to make consumers stupid. Really? We shall see what happens with that. Also, more Star Wars Battlefront news, you PC gamers. Star Wars Battlefront for PC will have no split screen. Yeah. Better mount it up. Just saying, if you plan on getting it. I mean, we already heard all the bad news from Star Wars Battlefront as it is. I can only imagine if it's going to get worse from here on out. In more news, Prototype. Let's talk about Prototype. For those who don't know, Prototype 1 and 2 will be coming to the PS4 and Xbox One as a bundle. So here we go again. Older games coming over, shifting over again. Also, in more Ubisoft news, they explain why digital games seem they're more expensive than physical copies. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear about copyright and trademark and things of this nature, because you know what? For years, and I say this, for years, Ubisoft and every other company, when there was the battle between physical and, digital releases, what did they say? Digital will be cheaper because we don't have to worry about manufacturing and all those costs and all those prices. Now they're trying to let you know that digital actually costs more. They're flip-flopping if you haven't realized in a number of years. I don't want to hear this. As far as I'm concerned, you were lying, and now you're backing out, and now you're trying to change your story. I don't want to hear it, all right? Digital was supposed to be cheaper due to the fact that, that you didn't have to worry about all those costs. That's why you were charging so much for physical, right? So it was supposed to be cheaper. Now you're sitting here saying it's going to cost more, and now you have to worry about if this is a control factor. Because then they control every little thing that happens when it comes digitally with your games. And for those who don't know, there's been a study not too long ago that gamers still prefer physical copies over digital copies. But yet, they're going to keep this digital thing going. I can understand if it's a cheap game or something like that and you want to pay, or it's a sale or something, and you want to get it for digital. I get that. I understand that completely. You know what I mean? But just to buy a full game, say like Resident Evil 6. Just to say that, okay? Resident Evil 6. Do you see how much it takes up on a hard drive? When you keep buying these massive games that are on your hard drive, not to mention patches, because you got to think the install, the patch, man, please. This is microwave gaming. That's what it is. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of digital. Do I have digital games? Yes, I do. Because they were cheap. Like I said, I can understand when people buy stuff cheaper or on sale. But you won't see me buying massive, and I mean massively large games to put on my hard drive. I'm not doing that. I would rather a physical copy, just like with Shovel Knight. Now, Shovel Knight isn't that big of a file, but now that I know it's going physical, I'll be buying the physical copy of it. You know what I mean? Instead of the digital version. So, anyways, in more news, let's move on. Harassed developer John Smedley tells Lizard Squad hacker he's coming for him. That's right. Apparently, since, this Lizard Squad hacker only got a slap on the wrist, he's going to take him to court. This is what these business guys do, right? They take you to court and they drain you. I can see it happening. I can see it. And this is all over what happened over the holiday season when people couldn't play their games. You know what I mean? So, we'll see what happens with that. Also, I want to talk about fan base a little bit because Sony has responded to Better PSN Network and encourage you gamers to submit your ideas on ShareBlog. I will put it like this. Sony, gamers don't need to submit their ideas on ShareBlog. You want to know why? Because for years, they've been telling you what's wrong and you haven't listened. Then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, now that there's a campaign, there's a hashtag, we'll respond. Sony, you know what you're doing wrong. We've talked about this in a number of weeks, have I not, about how you want people to pay for PSN, yet it is not up to standard. Has anyone even seen the PSN, how it's run right now on the PS3? And that's free. Have you seen what it looks like now? It is all but abandoned. That PSN, that PS Store is an absolute fucking joke. Absolute joke. It was never like that before. Oh wait, I want to go into the store. What do you mean I gotta download this, this install first? Are you serious? Like, it's slow, it's buggy, it's glitchy, it kicks you out, it freezes, and that's just the free version of PSN. It's amazing what Sony has done, and I say this, how bad it could have been, how bad it's gotten. Because before the PS4, we didn't have to go through that until they changed the network to make it look like Xbox Live with the slider. We didn't need that. You had your own identity. Whatever. Now it's just a clusterfuck. It is. Anyways, speaking of clusterfucks, and I say this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, alright? I say clusterfucks because there's going to be so much rage, so much carnage on screen that it's going to look like a clusterfuck. That every villain has stepped in your path just fucked up in the worst way. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Metal Gear Rising director wants to make a Kill la Kill game, or, check this out, Berserk. That's right, they want to bring back Berserk. For those who don't understand what I'm talking about, this is what Berserk was back in the day when we had an actual game for it. Yeah, the Dreamcast version that was a hack and slash and went really well for its time. Can you imagine having a Metal Gear Rising director with Berserk? Don't get me wrong, if they do Kill la Kill, that will work out well too, given the randomness of Kill la Kill and how it is if anyone's ever seen the anime. But can you imagine a new Berserk game with that going on? Can you imagine that? Like, bring it on. Actually, if you want, bring them both on. How about that, as far as I'm concerned? Because that's going to be crazy as far, like I said, we already know that there's already talks about there not being a sequel to Metal Gear Rising. There may not be. So this will probably be the best thing we can get, outside of that. We'll see what they'll do with Metal Gear Rising. I'll look more into it. But for what we've heard so far, there won't be a sequel. I would love to see a sequel, but they're saying that there may not be one. So, if worse than worse, bring on Berserk and Kill la Kill. Like, this style of gameplay is what we need. it needs to, to flourish more and more to see what they can bring to the table. I would love to see what ideas they bring to the fore. Like I said, you see what they've done with Metal Gear Rising. You see what they did with Bayonetta 2. I would love to see what they can do with these two franchises. Would love to. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to talk about Batman. Once again, gamers getting screwed. Batman Arkham Knight Season Pass has 6 months worth of DLC. And it's going to keep going throughout, I believe, the year. 6 months? And then you know how this goes. 9 times out of 10, they'll come out with a Game of the Year edition. You know how this works. So as far as I'm concerned, gamers, just relax. You really don't need to get this DLC unless you're going to... if you bought the game, I guess you got no choice at this point if you really want everything. That's... WB Games just fucks people over so much. And like I said, and you got to get on Rocksteady too because they're in business with them. Whatever. Like I said, developers are just as bad. Like I said, you know who you're getting in business with. We saw this with Kingdoms of Amalur, did we not? And EA. Where'd that company end up? Where'd it end up? Bankrupt, didn't it? Okay then. And EA, still walking just still shucking and jiving down the street like it's nothing to it. Like I said, you gotta learn how business works, man. And when something fails, you just can't have said YouTuber come out and be like, you should support this because of blah, blah. Nah, man, that's not how it works. WB Games really are on the cusp of being, I would think, at being the worst company in America this year when it comes to, how we have those little, worst companies in America when it comes to, EA and all those. They're right there. They are right there. They're trying their hardest to be at the forefront, given what they've done with the Batman series as of late. And, oh my God, I'm sorry, but I can't support that. I just can't. 6 months worth of DLC. But here's some good news for you, okay? The Witcher 3 latest DLC has been revealed. That's right. And as you know, it'll be free. So there you go. There's your good news when it comes to DLC, okay? Also, Sega says that they've learned from Atlas and will focus on regaining customers' trust and quality. Sega, I'll believe it when I see it. Because you haven't listed a fan base for a very long time. Hell, even your ex-employees have come out and said, you don't give a shit about the customers. So you really, and I mean you seriously need to step up. You have to show a sign of good faith. And if you really want to go, to do well by consumers and get them back in your trust, give us Shenmue 3. Give us Jet Set Radio. You have to show us that there's some type, you have to offer us a sign of good faith before we can say, hey, you're back. You have to. You have to make the right moves. I cannot sit here and say, oh, well, this is what they said. Doesn't mean they're going to do it. Hell, you're still pushing Sonic Boom, Fire, and Ice. Stop, man. If you want to really help the consumers, you'll cut that shit off, and you'll take that money and put it into something else. But, whatever. Also, in more fan news, and being upset, fans are upset with the $250 Halo 5 CE only includes the digital copy of the game. That's right, only the digital copy. You're paying $250 for this edition, and you're only getting the digital copy. But the company is working on a way to get around that. They're working on a solution. That's what they say, a solution. The solution is to not give them a digital copy. Give them a physical copy. Don't make no damn sense. $250 and you still don't have the damn thing in your hand. But yet there's some people who will go out there and still buy it. They will. Like I said, you have to, at some point, like I said, you can be a fan of these companies, but you have to be a bit smart. You have to be a little more aware, alert of what's going on. Seriously, if I'm paying $250 for a collector's edition or whatever, and I don't get a physical copy, I'm going to be pissed. That's crazy. Anyways, let's leave this on some good news. How about this? This is the last link today. Some good news. Kingdom Hearts 3. That's right. New info and more confirmed for D23 Expo in August. So Kingdom Hearts fans, you will get more info in August to see what's going on. Hopefully, the news comes down. We'll keep looking at it and see what's going on. I'm sure we'll talk about it, on various social medias and things of this nature. And then I'll, of course, talk about it here on video. So, that's all I have for today. I understand today I'm doing a gaming video. A lot of people wanted me to stream today. I was supposed to stream for the charity stream. I'm pushing that back till tomorrow. And I will still stick with what we were supposed to stream. As promised, we will do Crazy Taxi. That's right. And I'm only going to probably do it for an hour. But I just want to let you know now that because of the soundtrack in Crazy Taxi, I may not be able to put it on YouTube because, copyright strikes and things of that nature when it comes to music. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a charity stream or not. These companies do not give a shit. They don't. They don't care. So I may just have to keep it on there. I will try to put it on YouTube, and if there's any copyright strike, like I said, I don't care if they want to take monetization away from me because I don't monetize any videos anyway. But the fact is, if that's all they're going to take, then I will put the stream up on YouTube for those who won't be there to see it. You know what I mean? And if I can't, well then that's it. I can't do nothing about that, man. Anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.